Hi there. It's me again. What did you expect? You came to my YouTube channel and surely you didn't expect Chris Hemsworth to be here, because I don't think he would ever show up. He's invited, he's welcome, but I'm not him. I'm not he. That is kind of what I'm talking about today. Not Chris Hemsworth. Expectations. You came here expecting to see me. You didn't come here expecting to see Geddy Lee or someone like that. It's me. Now, recently I did a video about how every time I release a new book, I always think, this is the one. This is the book that's going to finally get me back to where I once was. Whether or not it happens is beside the point. But I have those expectations. Or not. Here's the thing. I have spent 30 years of my life between being an actor, between being a writer, of learning how to manage my expectations. As an actor, the thing that you get used to more than anything else is no. Part of the gig of being an actor is auditioning. In fact, for many actors, it's what they do the most. Many actors spend more time auditioning than they actually do playing roles, be they on film, TV, or the stage. Now, during my acting career, I was really quite fortunate that I probably 60 to 70% of the auditions I went out for, I got. I was really, really fortunate. And in some cases, I walked right into one gig and out of that and into another. And sometimes I didn't even have to audition. And I chalk that up to luck. Well, okay, luck and a very good business ethic. Not business ethic, but work ethic. Because I went into every rehearsal and performance with the idea that I want them to hire me again. And I would do anything that I had to do that. Which means being a nice person, doing the job, and not jerking around. But the thing is after a while of doing that, my expectations started to get a little out of control. Because I had spent a lot of time not hearing no. I always assumed that when I went into an audition, especially for something I really cared about, that it was mine for the taking. And that burned me a couple of times later on in life, where I was absolutely certain that that role was mine. And in the end, it wasn't. And I survived. So that meant many years of doing that tempered my expectations. Especially as a writer. Especially now as a writer. Now, the thing that prompted me to want to talk about this was a discussion that I had with somebody on Twitter. And it was clear that they were someone new to the craft of writing or to the business of writing. They were new to artistry in general. And they assumed that taking the time and effort to write a book would lead them to success. That's a great way to think. But it's not necessarily realistic. And I think that that's where I'm coming from at this point in the game. I'm trying to be as realistic as I can, and my watch is going off. I have to shut that alarm because I said it. I don't know why. I didn't want that to keep buzzing on me. I have learned to become realistic with my expectations, and I try to help other people understand that realistic expectations are much more healthy than unrealistic expectations. Yes, you want to be able to finish your first or your 20th or your 40th or 50th book and think, this is the one. But at the same time, you have to understand what this is the one means. This is the one might mean that you sell a copy of your book. This is the one might mean you wind up on a bestseller list. The problem lies in when you assume this is the one is the gateway to success. Now, we all have different definitions of what success is. For some, completing the writing of a book is success, and you should think of it that way. Writing a book is hard. It takes a long time from start to finish, from start to release. It takes a while. So there is a level of success in completing a book. But when you complete that book, when you've gone with your editor back and forth and it's ready for publishing, whether it's publishing via a publisher, a big publisher, a small publisher, a medium publisher, or you're publishing on yourself by yourself, if you assume that this book is going to open the door to celebrity, you're approaching this whole thing wrong. The truth of the matter is that being an artist, regardless of what kind of artist you are, regardless of where you live, it means learning to cope with rejection. And that rejection may come in the form of an agent sending you a rejection letter, or a publisher sending you a rejection letter, or you've published your book and it's not selling. And no matter what you do to try to get people to lay eyes on your book, it's not working. You have to temper your expectations. I'm not saying you need to lower them to the point where just the act of creating the book is enough. But you have to understand the realism that surrounds this business. It is hard. And it is filled with rejection on so many levels. I mean, you have to remember that over 10,000 books are published on Amazon a day. 10,000 a day. So within a week, 70,000 books are published on Amazon. And that figure's low. That's a low ballpark figure. It is probably at this point more like 15 to 20,000 books a day, maybe even more. So out of those 15 to 20,000 books, you also have to realize that fewer people are reading. And of the people that are reading, the majority of them are reading romance, biographies, young adult. Those are the main three categories that people are reading. So if you are not writing in those three categories, those three genres, your chances are even lower. So you have to approach this, especially if you're writing genre fiction, like horror or sci-fi or some other genre, you have to approach this with the understanding of how everything is kind of laid out, the landscape of the industry. And that in order to achieve a modicum of success, you have to beat the odds. It's just like being an actor. If you're an actor and you are not drop dead gorgeous, insanely, and I mean insanely talented, or incredibly connected, you're going to struggle. I mean, look at this face. This face is not Chris Hemsworth. Not even close. So I've got that going against me. I'm not incredibly connected as an actor. Got that going against me. So the only thing that I can lean on is my talent. And that's only going to get you so far. Same thing with a writer. You could be the absolute greatest writer of all time. You could have written the perfect novel. And it could languish. So as you finish your book, as you publish your book, don't expect miracles. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be thrilled with the fact that you wrote a novel. I remember back in the 80s, I had a teacher who always said he was going to write the great American novel. That was his dream. And he tried and he tried and he tried. Now, I was an undergraduate at the time, and he spoke about this great American novel for 4 years. And he started it. But in 4 years' time, he couldn't finish it. He never finished it. He died not finishing the great American novel. The majority of people out there don't have it in them to write a novel. So if you have successfully completed the writing of even just one book, pat yourself on the back, because you should be absolutely congratulated and celebrated that you did something that the majority of people on this planet cannot and will not do. But that doesn't mean that book you wrote is going to make you rich or a household name. It is harder and harder and harder with each passing day for a writer to reach that kind of level. Writers are just not the celebrities they once were. That does not mean you shouldn't enjoy what you're doing. It doesn't mean you shouldn't celebrate the fact that you completed this thing. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't expect something. Just don't expect the world to open up for you. Be realistic in your expectations. Now here's the other thing. You finish that novel. Great. Bravo. Brava. Write the next one. And keep writing the next one. And make this your goal. Because this is my goal. My goal is that at some point in my life, those doors will open up. And by the time they do, I will have such a massive back catalog that people will be like, "Whoa, wow, look at all these books I can read from this guy." Make that your goal. Make your goal to create a massive back catalog so that when you do, when luck falls into your lap and you are celebrated around the world, people will see that you have been working very hard for a very long time. And there's a lot of words there that you've created. Now that is an expectation you can accomplish. Create a large back catalog of books that people can discover. So that should the day when the world does become your oyster, there you go. Just don't expect it to happen overnight. As a good rule of thumb, 10 years. 10 years of diligent writing and working hard, sweating your blood and your soul into those pages. Give yourself 10 years and hope that when that 10-year anniversary hits, the doors have opened for you. I hope I haven't discouraged anybody. That was not my point. My point is actually to encourage you, but to encourage you in a way that is realistic. Anyway, thank you so very, very much for giving me a little bit of time, because I know that time is precious these days and there's just so much to grab your attention. And it means the world to me that you have taken a little bit of your valuable time and spent it with me. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.